episode 30 of the Planet Nintendo podcast. Let's see what's on the menu for today. The N64 Classic, a very old topic. We're going to revisit that. Indies versus Virtual Console. Is Nintendo holding back Virtual Console for a specific reason? Favorite soundtracks from the N64 era all the way up till now. And of course, viewer questions. So let's get it started. What is up, guys? Patrick here from NintenTalk. And before we get into all this bull crap, let's introduce the best co-host on the planet, Joe from Joe After Work. What's up, man?
Yo, chilling. What's going on?
Nothing. And my honor to introduce our guest today, N64 Josh. What is up, man?
What's up, boys? I'm so excited to talk about Nintendo 64, even though
Oh yeah. When we, because Joe, I usually get the guests, so Joe this week got you on, which is awesome. I like getting other people from different communities on here, so of course, you know, your name, I was like, yeah, we're gonna go all out with N64. So very excited about that. Before we get started though, what are you guys playing? Joe, what are you playing, man?
I just jumped back into Metroid Prime 2, but dude, my 3DS, it's back in my hands. Radiant Historia. It is.
Would you dig that up or what?
It's just from, you know, the graveyard that people thought this thing was dead. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it's just I went back to 2016 real quick. No, man, I'd been holding off on playing that game. I bought it a month ago, and I finally did a Nintendo Spotlight on it last night. I spent 3 hours and I'm still in the prologue. Like, the game is the game's gonna be long. There's like so many different pathways, and you're like time traveling to an extent in order to like progress through the story. So like you got to do multiple timelines to make certain things happen in order for you to move on in the game. It is wild. The battle system's got like a grid. So you gotta like push back enemies to avoid taking too much damage. It's wild.
Nice. Josh, what about you, man?
It's been a whole lot of Smash.
Yes. Smash hype.
Yeah, a whole lot of Smash on that and the 3DS. Still playing some Splatoon and Mario Kart regularly. We threw Rocket League in the mix last Monday.
Nice.
I recently reviewed Skies of Fury, and so that was that was in the mix as well. It's been a busy time with games, you know.
Nice. I encourage people to go check that out, but quick thoughts on that game. That's one of the games I'm interested in. How are you liking that?
Okay.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
This is gonna get good.
Okay. Most people that know me know that I'm very positive for the most part. I don't like to rag on games. I view each game as it's somebody's creation, right? I mean, it's blood, sweat, and tears. And so I honestly, I mean, I really try to think about that when I come to a review. This game controls amazing. The graphics are amazing, but you can tell it's a mobile game and it is super thin on content.
Man.
It either needed to double down on the campaign and make it fun with a story that brought you in. Instead, you have the same map with just a palette swap that you fly in. That's it. Same map all the time.
Damn.
Just a palette swap and puffy clouds. It looks good, but it's thin. And then there's no online multiplayer. So there's nothing in this game that I want to tell people, go buy this immediately, other than it looks good, it plays really good. And if it had online, I would have probably given it more like an 8.5 out of 10 instead of a 7.2.
Damn.
So,
jeez.
Yeah, and that has like a $20 price tag too, so that's
It does. And what they've said from my understanding, don't quote me on this, but from what I have heard through the grapevine is that they've said if the game sells well, they'll add online multiplayer, which I just don't think that is how you want to go about it.
No.
The internet will eat you up and spit you out. You got to do it right. You've got to offer I would feel guilty if I overhyped this game and said, yes, everybody should go buy it, you know? And I mean, I even had people come at me and they're like, it's only $20. Why are you being, you know, like, and I'm like, hey, if you buy it and enjoy it, come back and let me know. But I was bored with it after 15 minutes, and I love Crimson Skies on the OG Xbox. Like, you know how many times I've tweeted at Phil Spencer to let me play and then he finally announced it a couple of years back that we could do it on the Xbox. That was my jam back in the day. My wife played it with me. We bought a second Xbox and a second TV for our living room. Like, we were all about Crimson Skies. So I love this style game. It's a stellar foundation, but it doesn't my review, I said it's like going to a buffet and only finding different colored potatoes, you know.
That's perfect.
It's all I can eat, but I'm still not gonna be full, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you, because like if they added the online multiplayer, that would be a big deal, because like a lot of indies, I just assume, like Joe, you're playing Streets of Red the other day, and I asked you if it had online, but kind of thinking like, oh, this is an indie game, you know, and that's kind of like something that I've just grown to expect, really, is this online not being there. I've been playing nothing but SNES because I hacked my SNES Classic. I finally did it. I was kind of like, you know, scared to do it, but it's super easy, man. And I don't know how people feel about that, because I was telling a bunch of people and they're like, oh, how could you? like I'm offending.
You've tainted it.
Like I'm like offending like 92 Nintendo, but I don't know. It's been fun playing a lot of Final Fight and stuff like that. So that's cool.
If you mentioned it on the internet, somebody was offended.
Yeah, pretty much.
2018, someone's offended.
It's somebody's job is to be professionally offended these days.
It's been really fun. It's been really fun, man. Playing all those games. Home Improvement for the SNES.
Oh, Jesus!
It's actually a good game. Actually a good game.
Why is it? What is it? It's like the first level. You're in like a random like forest or something like that, right?
It starts out on the set of the show, and then you're in a jungle collecting nuts and bolts. It's really weird. But
the most bizarre thing in the world. I remember that game.
Yeah, I don't know, but I've been playing a bunch of those. Some good, some bad, but it's been fun. But that kind of prompted this first topic. And I remember when the SNES Classic first came out, a lot of people were talking about this. It was like nonstop. N64 Classic, what to expect, things like that. There's a camp of people that think it's going to be the Game Boy Classic, which I kind of hope doesn't happen. I like the home console thing. But I wanted to ask you guys what your thoughts are. Do you think the N64 Classic is the next classic console to come out? I will start with Mr. N64 himself. Josh, what do you think?
Oh man, I mean, here's what we know: that Nintendo said we will be getting another NES Classic this year, right? Because they obviously could not meet the demand. They, according to them, said they didn't anticipate. Which, okay, whoever did that market research for you, you need to find someone else. So I think it's going to be a little ways out. Part of this kind of ties into your next topic as well. It's like, if they keep holding back on the virtual console, then I don't see why they wouldn't launch this thing. I'm all for it. I've got both the systems in their cases behind me, and they go with me to family events, and like I'd be all about it. So I hope it will. The few things that make me wonder if it will: 4 controller spots. Yeah. Are they gonna have enough controllers? Because they didn't with the NES.
That was terrible.
And if they do it, I kind of hope they go all out. I hope we get all the different colors. I hope we get the controllers with different colors. The only thing is I see the game library getting smaller and smaller. With, you know, we saw it with the NES to the SNES. And the other problem you run into with the 64 is a lot of games lost in license limbo. You know,
exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to allude to. I'll bring it to Joe this time. The N64 Classic, to all the 90s kids, we're all rejoicing, doing backflips. But if you really do think about it, there are a ton of games. I mean, I could list a bunch right now. DK64, like Conkers, like you're losing a lot of what made the N64 great. This is going to be a console to hack, man.
Yeah. Anything rare is like gone. That your 007, you're like, that's like split. Diddy's Kong Racing. I think that's what you just mentioned. Gosh, Perfect Dark gone. Like, what do you do there? Yeah, it's so much, man. But yeah, sorry. I like the idea of the color controllers and the color systems if they were to actually go balls out with this thing. The fact that we're getting an NES Classic this summer again makes me wonder if they are gonna hold off on the N64. NES Classic this summer makes me want to feel like makes me think that they're gonna hold off on the N64 Classic. Because I'm wondering if they're going to add more titles to the NES Classic and also give us longer cables as well, two things that I can totally see happening, kind of like what we saw with like getting Star Fox 2 on the SNES Classic, like, and then announcing a year out that this thing is coming back. Makes me wonder if it's like maybe this is next year and there's no signs of Virtual Console coming to the Switch, so I'm kind of like, all right, maybe this is what they're going to do, and then we'll continue to get these Arcade Archive situations going on, or they'll come up with a new name for it for the Virtual Console stuff for Switch down the road. Don't think that comes out in September with the online program, other than, you know, what they're putting in rotation every month. I think that's what they're going to limit it to for now.
Yeah, I kind of hope with this system that they put in the actual N64 controller ports. That way you kind of solve a bunch of problems. You package in two, and then it's kind of like left to everyone else. I feel like the extra controller thing sounds like a good idea, but just the stock of it, like you were mentioning, Josh, it just wasn't there. I think that's more rare than the console itself, which is crazy.
Oh yeah, they were like $300 on eBay. I have an aftermarket one, and I hate aftermarket stuff. Like it kills me inside that I look at it and it's an off-white color, and I'm like, what is this? What is this? Man. I just want my NES controller with the Wii plug-in on the back. You
know. That's insane. Any more predictions or games that you guys would want to see on there? I know that there's a lot of issues, but any games that are kind of on the fence that you guys hope make it? I know, like with the SNES, like Pilot Wings was like everyone thought that was going to be on, and it wasn't. Any predictions for games?
I'm gonna get wild with some of my stuff. I want to see Clay Fighter 63 1/3 on there. Like I'm that weirder. Yeah, that gosh. Was it Blast Corps? That weird fighting game where they had like, it was like Power Stone style. It was
Blast Corps wasn't that Rare again? And Jet Force Gemini, is that the one you're talking about?
No. Oh man, maybe it was Bio something. It was some weird title where these dudes fought in like mech suits, and like I guess they would break off or something like that. Everyone had like a different power, and it's like 3D environments, and you're like, you can like jump around platforms, like destroy your enemies and stuff like that. I gotta find the name now. Oh, that's gonna bother me.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
It's not Armorines, is it? Is that what you're talking about?
Armory? No, that doesn't ring a bell. Oh man.
Winback was another one that I always would see all over the place.
Oh man. Blast.
I kind of hope they include both of the Pokemon Stadium games, Classic and 64. Of course, Mario 64 and Mario Kart. But then again, like the whole controller issue, like that's a perfect 4-player game. Trying to think of other ones. There's the Beetle racing game. I've always liked that one. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. The Zelda. Yes. The 2 Zelda games.
Biofreaks.
Okay.
That was it.
Probably assume F-Zero, Star Fox.
It was a midway game.
Got a ton of Mario games, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf. You know, that kind of stuff. I mean, they could easily still fill the thing up. It's funny that Joe, you mentioned Clay Fighter. Like, the Nintendo 64 kind of looks like mud as it is, so you have a game that literally is about mud. It's perfect.
It goes right with it, man. Oh gosh, I just had another one that like slipped right off my brain. Lost it. Whatever. It's all right. Pass.
Tony Hawk is awesome on Tony Hawk back on the day on the 64.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. No load screens. That was a rocksend. That was a godsend.
Yeah. Turok 1 and 2 and 3. And they also had like the arena one or something like that. I think there was like 4 Turoks on the 64.
Someone's yelling at me in the comments down below for not mentioning Turok because I mention Turok all the time.
Damn it, Joe.
Oh man.
The wrestling games, I mean, that was the best era for wrestling games. WCW, NWO, and WrestleMania.
Oh man.
No mercy.
MK Trilogy. Was it MK Trilogy on N64 or Ultimate MK? Mortal Kombat?
Oh, Mortal Kombat?
Yeah. It had like that huge character selection.
I have Mortal Kombat 3, I believe. The one another one we won't see because of Rare, Killer Instinct Gold.
That's another one.
Done.
You know, and the thing is with Rare, Microsoft seems like Phil Spencer is a gamer, right? Like it's not like it is with Sony where it's like we're in this console war still. I mean, we just found out the Switch is going to have achievements in Minecraft.
Yeah.
And so like and I think Phil Spencer's already said if they want Banjo in Smash, he's down with it. So that may be an easy sell for him if they're like, hey, can we get, you know, Perfect Dark and stuff like that on the it may happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, the problem is Nintendo, they already have a GoldenEye game done, an HD remake of GoldenEye. And Nintendo got cold feet at the end and said, no, you're not doing it.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's upsetting too, because it's not like it's like 1 or 2 games that, Rare made, 1 or 2 good games. We're talking about like 5 to upwards of like 6, 7 good games that like I think define like the N64. I mean, 007, Banjo-Kazooie, like those are, if not the best, some of the best games on the system. So, I mean, I'm rooting for it. Definitely more than a Game Boy Classic. That doesn't interest me at all. But yeah, N64 would be very, very cool.
Seems like a Game Boy Classic could be an app almost.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree, and I love Game Boy, but I would prefer the N64 Classic over Game Boy Classic for sure. Just looking through Mega Man 64, get Capcom back on it. Why not? I mean, it wasn't personally I didn't like the game, but that whoever, oh gosh, man, Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, and Rogue Squadron or Rogue
Squadron. Yeah.
How's that gonna work? Because that's all Disney now, right?
It's not gonna work. That's how it's gonna work.
Jeez.
I'm gonna be adding it on my computer later.
Oh man.
Speaking kind of that, our second topic today is indies versus virtual console. Now, there is this new-ish theory that people are saying that Nintendo is holding back virtual console on purpose because of the success of the Nindies. They even came up with a name for it. So I kind of have strong feelings about this. I wanted to ask you guys, do you think the indies and virtual console, do you think they're big competitors, and who do you think wins in that fight? I'll go with Mr. Indie himself, Joe. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man. Why flood the market with more things if what you have going on right now is making you money from a business standpoint? You want to kind of like spread it out a bit, make, yes, you can just easily dump that in, but I can't remember the video that I was just watching the other day, and I was glad that you made this a topic. What if oh my god, I think it was Arlo, actually, now that I think about it. I barely watch Arlo.
It was Arlo.
It was Arlo, yeah.
With Beat 'em, right? That guy Beat 'em Ups was
yes.
video together. I watched the same one.
Yes.
I think that may have been the video that
that sparked this conversation. Yeah. Oh my god. That's so funny. Anyway, how Nintendo's got these it has this huge library, but what if they just started dumping in Link to the Past, Super Metroid like once a week, and then you have a game like Celeste come out or something like that. Does Celeste then get put in the back burner because everybody wants to play Super Metroid and is like, all right, well, I only have enough money to play one game. Celeste is $14.99. Super Metroid is $7.99. Just throwing a price out there. I'm gonna get this one and I'm gonna go back, replay this, live my childhood, and then the next week comes is like, oh, Link to the Past is out. But then there's also this other game, Streets of Red. Well, I know Link to the Past is good, so I'm gonna get that. Boop. And then you kind of you're competing against yourself in a way. Although it's Nintendo licensed games, but over a game that's going to make them still make them money, but maybe not as much, I guess. Whatever the breakdown of how that's shared in royalties and whatnot. But yeah, like, indies are going so strong. Continue to let them have this platform, let it go and ride it out as long as possible, and Nintendo, make as much money as you can for the moment before people just stop buying indies, which I don't see happening right now. Like, I thought with all these games continuing to flood the market that it was just going to get oversaturated, but every week there's at least one or two games that are like solid, and although there's no proper curation in the eShop right now, people are finding them and people are talking about them and they're showing them off and they're streaming them sometimes, so it seems to be working. We've talked about this before, Pat and I. Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's necessary at the moment. And as much as that hurts to say, that's what the 3DS is still around for. 3DS has that virtual console market. You can still play Super Nintendo games there. And there's still a lot of people out there that have their 3DS.
Yeah. Josh, do you agree with our furry little friend here? Hello? Not talking about Joe.
I feel like there's a few different ways to look at this, right? I'm going to take me as an example. I would buy all of those games that got put on the Switch for the 17th time, and I would just have them there as a security blanket, knowing I could play these games whenever I want, but there's not a very good chance that I'm ever going to play them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the consumer that I am. I've been a Nintendo fan since I was like over 30 years now. I feel like there's a lot of people like me out there. Maybe some would play them a little more than I do. Maybe some would even play them less. The flip side of it is there's a lot of people that have just reintroduced themselves back to Nintendo that are like, I really want to play Mario 1, 2, and 3, Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Link to the Past, all these things. I feel for those people that are missing out, because I'm not missing out. I have a Wii U in my office. I have multiple DSs, right? I have all the original systems with most of the games still. Like, I don't need a virtual console other than for the convenience of saying it's on my Switch. That's it. That's all I need it for. The people that literally are just like, I have friends who bought the Switch. They've not bought a console in 2 console generations, right? They're like, oh, I haven't owned a Nintendo since GameCube. I haven't owned a Nintendo since 64. So they're wanting to experience some of these great Nintendo games that have been there for forever. I mean, and thankfully Nintendo's releasing all these ports that were on the Wii U, because those are incredible games that so many people missed. But there's also games like Mario Galaxy that a lot of people, even people that owned a Wii, didn't buy Galaxy because they were like, I just need this for tennis, or bowling. And so they missed that one as well. And so that's where I'm at. I do think Nintendo I don't think they're giving us what we want, but I think they're giving us what we need to keep the ecosystem healthy for independent games. Because if you ask most people that were like me that have all the Nintendo, like all the consoles, you know how many indie titles I have on my Wii U? I think 2. You know how many virtual console games I have? A lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. My 3DS, you know how many indie titles I have? Maybe 2. And you know how many retro games I have? A lot. And so and who knows, maybe they know the metrics of what people are playing and they're like, look, we're just saving you money to spend it on something new that you'll play so that you don't just buy this to have it in your collection.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case or not, but I mean, regardless, indies are crushing it right now. When companies are coming back and saying, our game is selling way more on the Switch than anywhere else, Nintendo is doing something right. And if that's because the virtual console's not there, then so be it. We got time. It'll be here eventually, right? And maybe it won't. Maybe it's going to be a 64 classic. Maybe it's going to be a GameCube classic. Maybe it's going to be a Wii classic. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. But we saw today, Sega announced we're going to start releasing games in arcade style, just like Neo Geo does, just like the arcade archives or whatever, which for me, I love, because buying Punch-Out like that has never been possible before. And Glass Joe's not that hard, Joe. Just want to get that out there.
And, for the record, I did beat him. Once.
So even Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers in the arcade, where Mario had to go into the sewer. He wasn't even allowed on the construction site anymore. Now he's in the sewer. That game has so much charm because the ROM could do so much more in the arcade cabinet than it could on the NES. The sprites like blink and smile, and they make it's a charming game. But we're never going to experience that outside of what we have on the Switch. So I mean, again, the consumer is crying, the internet's crying, give us virtual console. The people that want it, that haven't experienced for a really long time, I understand. But I think overall it's a good thing. I think having indies thrive is just better. It's better because games like Celeste and Golf Story and Floor Kids, they all would have been overshadowed by Metroid, Link, and Mario.
So the theory being that Nintendo is holding back virtual console, of course that's the case because they literally are. It would be here by now if they weren't. I have to put a little bit of faith into the hardcore gamers though. Like you said, there is a big market. A couple of my friends personally, one hasn't bought a Nintendo console since the Wii. The other one has never owned a Nintendo console, and all of a sudden they're going for the Switch because it's like the newest, hottest thing. But I think that there's a certain level of like gamers who like to discover these great games like the Shovel Knights and the Celeste and stuff. And I'm just not convinced that if you have a full virtual console and IGN puts out a 10 out of 10 review for a little game called Celeste, I feel like it still gets the attention even with a packed virtual console. I completely agree. I think that virtual console is not needed, but I feel like almost if you add in the virtual console, a lot of these titles that are shovelware get put to the side like they probably should. And the games like Golf Story, like Celeste kind of rise up a little bit, which actually would be something that I would enjoy. There's a lot of bad games already on the Switch. So I don't know. I kind of want virtual console to come because of that. Because there are a lot of great like high tier indie games, something that we haven't seen like in a while, like Owlboy and stuff. I could keep listing them. But that's kind of where I'm coming from. But yeah,
I think the other thing too is we've never seen Nintendo market independent titles like they have with the Switch. So maybe the virtual console wouldn't affect it at all because we're seeing Nindy showcases. They're not going to put the virtual console titles on there. Those into the shop and people are going to see them and go, oh, cool. I love opening the eShop on the Wii U and going, oh, I can check out all the Super Nintendo games, all the NES games. They're there. And that's where I go immediately. But you know, games like Shovel Knight, that was the one game that I was like, this game looks like an NES game. I want to play it. It money in. If they keep doing the Nindy showcases and that kind of stuff, Virtual Console may not affect it at all. You know, it really may not. Before, we never saw things like that, really. Nintendo would talk about Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, you know, like whatever their big main title was, and there wasn't a whole lot of love for the indies, and now it's a completely different approach, and it's working.
Yeah, you have people begging for physical copies of Golf
everything.
Story.
I don't want to talk about physical copies.
Oh man. Just to add on to that, yeah, like it's funny. You know, you look at the Wii and the Wii U, and they were consoles that had these huge library, or well, the Wii more than the Wii U, but had like these massive virtual console libraries, and people bought a lot of those things. I mean, when the Wii was finally going to close down the ability to add points to their Wii shop, I went bananas. I was just like, oh, I'm adding all these in, and I'm buying all the games that I can't get, like Sonic 3. Like, that was the main thing that I wanted, because I can't get that anywhere else right now digitally. Like, I'm just like, all right, well, here we go. And then I started adding more and more points. I was just like, okay, that's not on the Wii U a virtual console. I'm gonna get it here. And then I went bananas. Now that we're in the Switch, like, we're seeing the new guard of Nintendo take over. You're seeing a lot of new IPs. You're seeing them embrace a lot of change, and I feel like part of that has to play into them not just immediately jumping in, throwing the virtual console, giving new opportunities to other people to really make this console shine and show that, like, hey, we can thrive without just throwing our library into this thing. And it's been working.
Yeah. I mean, you can't fault them for that. Indies are selling, so why kind of introduce competition? There's no rush for it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Topic 3. Joe, what do you got for us,
man? I gotta pull it up on Discord real quick, because, you know, I'm so professional right now. All right, so
OSTs.
Yeah. How did I forget that, man? I've been thinking about it all day.
We learned what OST was. Me and Josh learned.
I was like, wait, is that not a common term? My bad. So yeah, original soundtracks. I know we've talked about this in the past, like all-time favorite soundtracks. But for you guys, of course, you know, we got Josh on. We got to talk about N64 soundtracks and what your current favorite soundtrack for a Switch game is as well. So you can list one, you can list a couple if you'd like. Josh, I'm gonna throw it to you, homie.
I mean, probably the one that like will take me back the most is Ocarina of Time. Love that soundtrack on the 64. The other one that I remember really liking was F-Zero, you know, and just like those two are kind of the ones that really stick out in my mind. As far as stuff on the Switch right now, there's so much music, so much good music. Celeste has an amazing soundtrack. I'm a sucker for Mario Kart 8 and listening to like Excite Bike played with a full orchestra, you know. Like, I love it. I love hearing the old, like the Super Nintendo levels redone with the new music, and I think what I like the most is that they've kind of peeled back the curtain a little bit, and they've let us see these musicians working on these games, and it's letting us like kind of see them play the songs and that kind of stuff. I love it. I mean, I play music myself, so like I really appreciate the just the dedication and the ability that goes into some of these soundtracks, and even Odyssey and I mean, you can really, even Splatoon, the stupid drum beat that plays right when you drop into a map. I'm always just like, oh man, that's just like even though it's just a simple drum beat, you can just tell it's just played with some like love, you know what I mean? Like a little bit of soul in that thing. I love it.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, we obviously know Tony Hawk Pro Skater is the best on the N64. Let's just put it that way. But Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Superman by Goldfinger, man. Come on.
I know, but the songs were only like 30 seconds long on the N64.
That's true. That's true. But as far as some more N64, Banjo-Kazooie, classic. What am I? Jet Force Gemini had a great soundtrack on there, and damn, yeah, the Legend of Zelda ones are very memorable. As far as the Switch, first game I ever went to Spotify and like actually listened to outside of the game was Celeste. Like that soundtrack is fantastic. Something I would definitely sit and listen to. Mario Kart 8, yeah, you mentioned the mix were really cool to listen to. Odyssey had a few like really good tracks on there. And I'm weird. A lot of people say that Breath of the Wild soundtrack is weak. I think it enhances the game. I wouldn't listen to it like outside of the game, but little piano cues, little like, when you see the Guardian, like that's very memorable to me. So I feel like Breath of the Wild like nails it in terms of soundtracks. There's not a ton of it, but what they do right. So
yeah, they make it count. It was almost like simplicity just made things so much better with that game. For me, man, definitely Ocarina of Time, Bolero of Fire, Minuet of Forest, like all the Ocarina tunes that you play in that game are amazing, especially when you meet Sheik. Oh my god, those songs sound beautiful on harp. Oh god, or whatever the hell the mini thing is. Gosh. Other N64 games, Perfect Dark, for some reason, the intro, the menu, the wow, oh my god, it was so good. GoldenEye, of course. Like, sorry, I like to add the sound effects. It just, for Switch, man, I keep going back and back. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, just like everything in that game was on point, right? Like
dude, that electric guitar came in, and I was like, I'm in love.
Oh my god! Like even the weird songs at the most random moments, like the rock fight in Chapter 3, the last cutscene towards the end of that chapter. I won't spoil anything, but there's just a weird song that's in there. Like, why is this in here? And then it gets serious again. I'm like, all right, let's get it back. But even those songs are amazing. The ending credits just like, oh, that tugs at the heartstrings. Even like the title of that song is just like, wow. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles does it for me.
Too. Like throwing that in all.
Don't forget me. Don't forget me. Don't forget me.
I really love the like the behind the scenes, or like I don't know if it's like a live performance that Nintendo releases of like, I think they did it most recently with Splatoon 2 and like Odyssey, where they release like the videos of them actually playing it.
Yeah,
I would love to see more of that, man. That's really cool.
You guys mentioned Splatoon 2. There's that one song on Splatfest that comes up every time that I am addicted to. It's from Off the Hook, and I just keep I think it's Ebb and Flow is the name of the song. That song is just, that's my favorite thing in life right now. Like that's just a good pick-me-up song. And then
even during Salmon Run, there's this little riff that plays. It sounds like a 8-bit chip tune almost. Like
it gets wild, man.
It's just in Salmon Run. It's like, I don't know if it's only when you're carrying the golden egg or whatever, but like I was just, even yesterday I was playing. I'm like, what is this little riff that happens all the time? Like, I love this.
Oh my gosh. And if you guys, I'm sure you guys have, but like the extended versions of all the Mario Kart 8 songs, you could find them online. Like there's some stuff that doesn't make it into the game because of like how the tracks are created and they get cut off. There's some amazing runs in with like some of the sax, like the brass section that gets wild. It's like, how do you not have that in here?
Yeah. Okay, I think the last part of today's show is going to be viewer questions. Joey actually had a we need some kind of a transition in there. But Joey had a question about Virtual Console, and we pretty much answered it already. It was kind of like about, do we actually need it, that kind of stuff. So let's go over to JD. He has a really good question. And he says, with mobile gaming becoming more complex, with even Fortnite going to mobile, what does that mean for the Switch? Is it still a unique hybrid, or is the gimmick kinda mundane? So, is mobile gaming making the Switch look less appealing or less unique? Mobile gaming and Switch, do you guys feel like they're getting closer and closer to each other? I'll start with Josh on that one.
No, I don't. I have Fortnite on my phone. It's still trying to use a screen as a controller. And look, unless you're like really into Candy Crush or something like that, like the only thing I play on my phone, I log in every day to Fire Emblem Heroes and get my orbs. I have over 600 orbs right now. Like, I need
to do that.
All I do is log in and log back out. I log into Pokemon. I catch one Pokemon. There's this church on my way to work that has a stop that only one other guy uses, and he's blue team, I'm red team, and we switch every 24 hours. We both get 50 points or whatever, 50 gold coins every other day, and it works out perfectly. And so that's the extent of like my mobile gaming. Like I don't know, and I don't think many people look at the Switch like it's a mobile platform. As far as like they look at it as like a handheld console, like a successor to the DS or the Game Boy and that kind of stuff. And so if Fortnite comes to the Switch, you better believe I'm going to play the heck out of it, because it has 2 analog sticks for aiming and moving. That's what's always going to set mobile gaming apart. Now, there are peripherals that look kind of like the Switch that you can get for your phone. But why not just play the Switch at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, so
they're not exactly cheap either.
No. And you're going to get experiences like Skies of Fury that are like, this is a mobile experience for like a 2 to 3 minute at a time. I'm playing this while I wait for my bus or whatever. And then you're on with your day. I think games like Hearthstone and card games and things that are just, even Mario Run works. The Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, I played that forever, but you can play that with one hand, right? Your phone is in portrait mode, and you're moving your thumb around basically. That's what I see as the best kind of mobile gaming. Again, it's just my opinion, but I don't think that competes with the Switch. I don't sit down with my phone and go, oh, it's time to game. I grab my Switch, I grab a DS, I grab the Wii U, whatever it is. I get a controller.
Yeah.
That's time to game.
Joe,
mobile gaming, Candy Crush expert or what?
Yo, I am. I crush the candies. No, I don't even. Dude, I have the Nintendo ones. That's all I have on here at this point. And oh yeah, Fortnite is on there. I got to play one game. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having kind of fun here. But the same thing that happens when you're relying on like touch controls always happens with me, where my thumbs just eventually slide off, or my thumbs go over the character in the middle of the screen at some point, and I'm just like, okay, I need to readjust like every couple of seconds. Where you can't beat a controller. Like, it's just, it works so much better for a game like that. You can use Bluetooth controllers with those games and whatnot on phones nowadays, but dude, I'm always gonna go Switch first. Like, that's my thing. So if any of those, I mean, we're seeing more and more mobile ports make it to Switch. Some of them they're hit or miss and whatnot. I think a lot of the rhythm games that were on the phone do work for Switch a lot better than like a game kind of like what was that racing game that Bobby liked?
The Gear Club.
Yeah, like where it's like, okay, it looks more like a mobile game and it still plays like one, but it's kind of neat that it's on there. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to play something like that. Like, I want a proper experience.
Yeah. I mean, there are some people, like, I have to look at the other side. There are people that really do like mobile gaming. And I feel like mobile is probably like the most popular it's ever been. I don't know if I can say that with confidence, but yeah, there was someone at my work that had a peripheral that was like 80 or $90, and it was like
Jesus.
it felt really nice. Like the controller went right on his phone, and I was like, wow, this is kind of better than some of the Switch features. But you're like Josh said, like might as well get a Switch at that point. He had like 2K, Grand Theft Auto, and it's just like, I don't know. I'd rather have a Switch in that case, but I don't think that mobile gaming can take away the Switch.
Oh, I think it's like two separate experiences. Like you have your pod over there and you have your other thing over there.
Yeah,
they can coexist.
The Switch has planted itself right between mobile gaming and console gaming.
Yeah,
it has become that hybrid that's like everybody wants it. Everybody's. I mean, the thing's selling hotcakes and like hotcakes, and it's because it's not just an Xbox, it's not just a PS4, and it's not just mobile. Yet you've got mobile games that are doing okay, like Voice and things like that you can do touchscreen stuff on, and it works. It's just it's really positioned itself as like, hey, you can have a console experience, you can have a mobile experience, and you get it with Nintendo games. So you're not going to find that anywhere else.
I'm so happy you mentioned Voez. Thank you.
I love the game. So
oh yeah, and I should have mentioned this before. If you guys want to ask questions, go to my Discord. Link will be in the description, and there's a section for P&P questions. This one is specifically for Joe. This is from Jams, and he says, he says, why is the 3-bit losers so much better than P&P?
Oh man! All right. Yeah, I think he wants an official call out. I think he wants a challenge. Jams.
They want the airtime. It's not even.
Is it not worth it? Hold on, because
it might be.
Jams, Aaron, Matt of the skinny kind. You guys want a challenge? Throw down. Name a game. Throw it down. I'll be there. 3 versus 1. Can't handle me. Let's go. Gauntlet has been thrown. It's in your court now. Let's go.
I don't think I can add. I can't add anything to that. I'll try to be there. And last question.
They're gonna pick
Josh is like, what the hell is going on?
They're gonna pick Turf 4. You're gonna be screwed.
Hey, listen, if it's Mario Kart, I'll just get all the red shells thrown at me. It's all good.
It's true.
It's nothing new.
And then finally, Fabian, dude 427S. Would you? I think we talked about this a little bit on a prior episode, but that was way ago. And he says, would you want a Nintendo movie? And if you do, which franchise would you want it to be?
Yes.
I will start with Josh on this one. Nintendo movie.
I want Ridley Scott from the late 70s to do a Metroid movie.
I love you. I love you.
R-rated, right? Like I want scary, over the top, like Samus with her back against the wall, like Ridley and Ripley, put them all together, you know? Like...
Oh my God.
Joe, what about you, man?
Yeah, it's so funny. Someone posted on Discord the Sky Falls short that was with Jessica Chobot like a few years ago, which we had a good conversation about. It was like, you know, in some of the portrayals, Samus in that one could be a little bit questionable. Like it seemed like Samus was more nervous than what you're used to in Metroid. But I feel like there's a lot there that you can do with who Samus is inside the suit that isn't Other M, where she's like waiting for commands to be able to use a certain power up. I really like what they tried to do with the PTSD in there, with like her having the flashbacks to everything that happened on Zebes and the baby Metroid, and like trying to correlate that to a new story, and then the whole thing with Adam as well and learning her backstory. There's something there that you can do with that, and I think it almost makes sense for it to be explored in like a proper sci-fi movie. So my answer is, it'll always go to Metroid.
Yeah.
Netflix, you could have Legend of Zelda. That's fine. Let's get this on the big screen. Metroid deserves a spotlight.
Yeah. I'm kind of torn because that would be cool, like having like intense like thriller Metroid, but I also think it would work as a TV show too. You like lengthen it out a little hour, maybe like 10 episodes or something. I don't know. That'd be cool. I also would love to see Splatoon. What was that? I missed that.
As soon as you said TV show, I instantly thought of the WB and like Arrow, for instance, right?
Oh man.
Like that would be Metroid. Like she's by herself fighting alien, and then it's backstory where she's in the woods training to become Samus.
She's throwing thumbs down everywhere. Like
we don't see her in the suit till like season 3.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my god.
I also think that a Splatoon cartoon or anime would be really, really cool. Like imagine putting on Cartoon Network and seeing like Splatoon. Like how dope would that be? And like kids would get involved and it would become even bigger than it is now. So kind of two sides of the spectrum.
Whoever does Adventure Time.
Yeah. Did you grow up in the 80s by chance? You know about cartoons that were just commercials?
Like I was not.
I was late 80s, but
and Transformers. All that.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was 81. That's all they did was make cartoons to sell toys.
Don't do drugs, kids.
It worked.
Yeah.
Until they killed off Optimus Prime in the movie and didn't realize that like one kid locked himself in his room for 10 days, and they were like, "What? We just
How do you do that?
Toy line."
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix. Watch it. The Toys That Made Us. It's good stuff.
It's crazy, man. Just a quick aside. Yeah, my brother saw that and he was destroyed. He told me to sort of like he was destroyed about that.
It killed me. I was like, what? How is that possible? How did evil win? What is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, I just say that because I Splatoon manga that's on. I gotta get the second volume, but that's pretty good.
How is that?
It's weird, but yeah, it's Splatoon.
That's what I would have thought. Yeah, that's why I think Adventure Time already. Like the people who made that like should totally just like do a pilot for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The more Pearl, the better, I say.
I like the way you think. So I think that's it for today. Before we sign off, why don't you guys sign off? Joe, where can they find you, man?
Joe After Work, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, everything there. JoeAfterWork.com. And Josh, where can they find you?
Everything's N64 Josh. You go to n64josh.com, and that's the hub for everything. I'm going to plug something real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book called Another Castle, and it basically is looking at the lessons that I've learned from an Italian plumber in his first game, Super Mario Brothers. It's my journey over these last 37 years. It's looking at Nintendo's journey over the last over 100 years, and it's looking at Mario's journey and comparing it with mine, like looking at his side hustle. Look, he was a carpenter that also rescued princesses on the side, right? That ended up landing him the face of a like the mascot of one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. And so that's kind of the angle I'm going with this thing. And I will be released. I will just soon to self-publish it. It will be in audio form also, and I'm hoping sometime in May it's going to be out. So
that's awesome.
I'm about 5 chapters in so far, and
wow.
So I'm having a great time writing it, and I cannot wait to share it. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, everything's N64 Josh, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Farmers Only, all of it. It's all N64 Josh. So
awesome. And thank you guys. Oh,
and hold on. I'm not going to let you off this easy, Josh. You have a podcast as well, and you have an amazing Switch collection as well. Where can people find those?
You got to say that again.
Can we link that Switch collection in the description?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, just remind me.
The physical Switch collection, and then, sorry, I might have cut out on your end.
Yeah, you totally cut out, so I didn't hear any of it. But I do have, as of right now, at least one version of every physical Switch game.
That's crazy. That is insane.
You are a madman.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
But you also do music, and you have an amazing music video out. Like, dude, you hear this guy's voice. It is great. Like, I'm not gonna let you off the hook with that one. And your podcast as well. Come on, man.
Yeah, Nintendo Powercast. It's all there. It's on n64josh.com. But yeah, Nintendo Powercast. I'm also doing the Smash Bros. Cast. I'm putting out 3 podcasts a week. And plus trying to write blog posts, that kind of stuff. Like hey, I'm like,
the hustle is real.
I'm Josh at work, right? Like there's no after. It's always work, baby, all the time. So, and I know Joe and Patrick, right? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah, I know you guys work. You guys you hustle as well. So I mean, it's what you got to do. It's what you have to do, right? Because everybody's doing it. So you better do it harder. That's all I got to say.
Exactly. Filmed the first episode, well, part of the first episode of Bargain Bros, Bargain Bros, Bargain Bros, which comes out the 1st of May. So that's really cool. Bringing retro gaming back into the mainstream. That's our goal. So yes, with that being said, thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Bye.